Now, as you can guess, right, most of these topics, I have a very personal relationship with them. And for me, it wasn't always easy to have boundaries. A lot of it was more mental and emotional. I had to learn that boundaries really, I had to have emotional boundaries with things, learning not to take everything personally or not feel overly responsible for other people. So before I could even think about saying no, I had to learn that I wasn't responsible for other people's reactions or what they decided in their life or whether they asked me for advice and then ignored it and didn't take it. Like that wasn't my responsibility. And so that was a really like big huge first step in me developing healthier boundaries. And it was something that really evolved like when I was in my 20s and just seeing how in certain friendships things were unbalanced, and I had to learn that in order to have a healthy marriage, I had to, it wasn't even just about boundaries with my spouse within the marriage, but showing that I had boundaries with other people showed how I was able to prioritize my marriage and my relationship. And that was really, really like a turning point in terms of our relationship. And that was really a turning point in my relationship and just how I felt within my marriage. So, boundaries had to start within. So, what exactly are boundaries? We are hearing it, right? I use the phrase that people are saying you have to stand on business with your boundaries. And it has this image of this thing where you're just not going to back down. And sometimes, quite frankly, it might be that. But a lot of times, it's a more subtle experience, it's a more subtle communication. And it starts with what you think about boundaries and what your understanding of boundaries is. So, like one definition that I love is that, so one definition that I love is simply that boundaries are limitations, right? They are the limits that we set for ourselves in relationships and in interactions with other people to protect our well being. And this ensures that there's understanding between us, but that our needs can be met. And it's essential for, and boundaries are essential for helping us to maintain a sense of self respect. And you know, I always say that self respect, dignity, those things are a huge part of your femininity and really leaning into your feminine essence. And so to have healthy boundaries, you have to have, I mean, healthy relationships, you have to have a healthy self respect, a healthy respect for yourself. You have to be someone that doesn't allow others to walk all over you or take advantage of you or disregard you or treat you in a certain way. And so that's where those limits come in. And boundaries can take all kinds of forms. Of course, there's physical boundaries, like that is really easy to see. There are emotional boundaries, like I alluded to, mental boundaries, and that a lot of times is even with it yourself. Sometimes, of course, sexual boundaries. You often need financial boundaries, and this can come up. I've heard seen a lot of discussions about girls' trips and group trips that people go on, and how some people there isn't communication or understanding or a clear sense of what the boundaries are, and so some people come with a lot of money, some people come with no money, and you know, it's all mayhem. So you need financial boundaries, often spiritual boundaries, right? We have to understand where we start and stop and where another person starts and stops. And sometimes we feel like because somebody else had an experience, whether it was a spiritual experience, religious experience, that we have to either agree with that or go along with that or make that our experience. And so boundaries really are a part of saying, like, I'm separate from you, and that's okay. So we said physical, emotional, mental, uh, financial, sexual, spiritual, even digital boundaries. How you use these digital devices, this social media. So we're really in an age where we actually have the power to curate our experiences with other people and in our relationships. And that's really what boundaries are about.